there, everybody. This is David from My Metal Today, and we are continuing our series on interviewing bands that are performing at Metal Power Fest, which is really quickly coming up. We're talking about just a couple weeks at this point. And I'm here with Jonas from Dragonland. He's the lead vocalist. And Jonas, why don't you take a second or two to kind of introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, thanks, David. So I'm Jonas from symphonic power metal band Dragonland from Sweden. We're finally getting a shot at Mad with Power, and it's gonna be so freaking amazing. Especially for me, since it's like a super nerd festival, and that's what I am. I'm a super nerd, like video games and toys and stuff. So it's definitely a bucket list thing for me, and I think I can speak for the other guys as well that we're thrilled to be able to visit the US again.
No, that's awesome. And I can attest to how fun the festival is. This will be my third year running, and it's the perfect mishmash of metal and nerdism with all the video games and everything else. It's so much fun. Well, cool.
Then I have one slight worry though. I might like miss stage time or something because I'm busy playing something or whatever. So you have to come look for me if we're hitting the stage and I'm not there.
Well, everybody, you just heard we haven't even gotten much into the interview yet, and already it sounds like you may be able to challenge Jonas in some '80s arcade games, or who knows, maybe Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I don't know what his favorite games are, but I think you just got the invitation. So here we go. All right. Um, well, cool. We'll talk a little bit more about Mad with Power in a little bit because I do have a few follow-up questions on that. But let's start with the
Sure.
band. Dragonland itself has been around for quite some time. I think over 25 years, maybe right at 25 years at this point. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe you're the only original member, although it seems like half the band at least has been around with the band for most of its tenure. So maybe can you talk a little bit through kind of how the band started and how has the band had such a long tenure? Like, how has the band lasted so long?
To be precise, the band is 27 years old this
All right.
year. So me and my childhood friend, we got separated at some point during the late school years or something like that, moving our separate ways, and like by a freak chance, we just bumped into each other at a bar, uh, stupidly drunk, both of us, and he said like, yeah, I'm considering like starting a metal band, power metal band, because like all those power metal bands are so super great and I want to do that too. And I remember that you could sing, right? Yeah. And I, of course, sure. So we sort of started the band there and then, early '99, I think it was. And we started rehearsing, me and Niklas. We had a drummer named Magnus, and that was pretty much it. And soon after the first rehearsals, we recruited another guitar player called Daniel, and as well as Elias, our current and our only keyboardist. Um, and then we started preparing for the first record in early 2000, I think it was, and the second guitarist decided to quit, so that we had to panically recruit another one, and that was Olaf Merck. So then we had our band, and so yeah, we've been around since then, and I guess we're kind of a slow moving band. We don't tour that much or anything. We enjoy like recording and releasing albums more for ourselves actually. It's a really cool outlet to have the privilege to be able to do this. And the fact that people seem to like it, it's super flattering, and it gives the extra boost to move on when things move slow.
Absolutely. Maybe a follow-up question to that. So, what inspired you to kind of have some of the themes that you have? I mean, obviously, we all know power metal tends to be, kind of fantasy and lore and adventure and things like that. But like,
No.
what motivated Dragonland to kind of focus in or hone in on what you have, and maybe even as a follow-up to that, where did the name come from?
Um, that was also like just a split second, like genius thing, and it was Niklas who came up with it. We had come up with names to the right and left, and nothing really seemed to fit what we wanted to do. And we knew that we're gonna do this fantasy stuff. And I've always been reading tons of fantasy literature. Robert Jordan, especially, is one of my personal favorites, and Raymond E. Feist and stuff. So we knew that it's gonna be fantasy inspired. So he just threw out one day, like, yeah, what about like Dragonland? And it was like, yeah, there it is. So yeah, it was nothing like we considered. It was just came out like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you mentioned that you're a slow-moving band, and I think early on there were quite a few releases, and then after Under the Gray Banner, you went about 11 years or so, I think, until your 2022 release. So,
Yep.
so what was what caused the longer break there? I'm always curious when a band does take a longer break between releases.
Well, in the beginning, it was quite easy because already then we knew that if we're gonna record an album, it's probably gonna be two because we have this story to tell.
Mhm.
So we ended up with Battle of the Ivory Plains and Holy War. And after those two, we felt like, yeah, what are we supposed to do now? But then we had especially Elias who wanted to bring other influences in, so he started composing a lot. And I guess that's why we also released Starfall pretty fast after Holy War, I think.
Mhm.
And then the normal stuff, I think, happened, like people grew up and started getting making families and stuff. Especially after Under the Grey Banner, everybody like moved and got married and got kids and stuff. So we didn't purposely mean it to take that long, but it sort of just happened. The time just flew by, and before we knew it, it was like 11 years old, and everybody says it's taking 84 years old or something. Yeah, you know that it's been 84 years.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You hear this a lot. Just life happens. And
Yeah,
we all get busy, and obviously, I think for you all, the band is not your full-time job, and so you have other jobs
exactly.
that are your full-time job. So that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it wasn't that we just stopped composing or doing this stuff with music during those 11 years. It just went by really, really slowly. Like, yeah, I guess like the first song from the previous album, Power of the Night Star, was, I think it was recorded, the first demo, it was recorded 2015, maybe 2016.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it took a few years between Banner and the first demo, but from that on, we continuously worked on it.
I love that song, by the way. That's actually one of my probably top Dragonland songs. So
Cool.
it's such a great one. That's wild though that it's
I
been
like it
around
too.
for that long. So let's go back to Map with Power for a second. You kind of
Yep.
started off saying how excited you were about it. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Dragonland has only played the U.S. once, and that was Prague Power 11 years ago, approximately. And so obviously it's been a while since you've been on this side of the world, and
Yeah.
you already mentioned that you were super excited about Mad with Power in general, like just the atmosphere and kind of the vibe to it. But what maybe motivated you to actually want to play Mad with Power? Can you maybe walk us through that backstory a little bit? Like, did Ty reach out to you? Did you reach out to Ty? Like, kind of what was that story?
Well, yeah, you're correct that we're technically be playing our second show in the US now, but we did play the 70,000 tons this January, so we sort of, well, passed through the US at
Okay.
least, but we didn't play in the US. Yeah. Um, well, about the Mad with Power, I've been like following it online since a few years back, and I just know that I mentioned it to the guys at one point. Like, shouldn't we try to contact them and see if we got a shot there? But I actually don't know how we got this gig. If Ty contacted us or if we bullied him into uh, for to force our way in. I'm actually not sure how it went down.
Well, that's cool, but regardless, it does sound like there was a desire from the band
Yeah.
to play this specific fest. Um,
Yes.
so you obviously you mentioned the nerd aspects. What other things have you seen or heard about Mad with Power that excited you for this festival specifically versus other festivals?
Well, the thing, and I think it's generally for the US, especially for me. Like I have so many friends online from the US, and I met some of them, a lot of them at Prog Power like 11 years ago, and I think that a lot of those guys and other friends will attend to Mad with Power. So that's a huge thing for me to just maybe for the first time meet some of my friends that I've known for years online.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be really, really cool, and the festival seems like amazing. I haven't heard any one single bad thing about it, so it seems super epic and super nerdy.
Yeah, one thing that I've heard other bands say, and I'll personally attest to, is just kind of almost the family atmosphere that you have, and
Yeah,
family in the sense that some of these people you may only see one time a year, or maybe to your point, you've known these people for years online, but they're kind
yeah,
of they're internet avatars, right? You haven't actually met them in person, and you
exactly.
go you go and meet them in person, and it's like you've been family.
Yeah,
Uh, a cool story I like to share, and I think I've shared before, even maybe on a previous interview, is my first Map of Power was a couple of years ago, and I was super excited for it, but I had just recovered from knee surgery. I had torn my ACL and my meniscus, and so I was literally just in the window where my surgeon even was okay with me getting on an airplane,
oh
and
really?
so my son and I went. I was still on crutches, and yeah, I had the VIP, but I had to sit the whole time. I'm the kind of person who likes to be right on the rail,
Yeah,
especially since I video. But I had to sit for the entire fest, and it was a different way to experience it, and it was a great festival. And I met so many people, but I wasn't quite as outgoing and active as I normally would be because I wasn't as mobile as normal. Well, the next year, so last year, I remember walking around, and literally random people would say, "Oh, how's your knee doing?" And I'm just like,
yeah,
"What? Like what?" And then I did a get together with a bunch of folks that I had kind of gotten to know over the previous year, mostly through Instagram, but I'd met some of them while I was there last year. And we were talking at this little get together, and people were like, "Oh, wait a minute, you were the guy with crutches?" And so it was just really funny how, I guess because I'm 6'4", I'm a tall guy, and I was on crutches,
mm,
I like was very noticeable, I guess. But I tell this story to highlight that people do notice, they care, and
yeah,
there really is kind of that really community family type aspect. And like I know I'm very excited to go back again this year because there are a bunch of people that I only see at this festival every year.
yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I already know a few people that I know is gonna attend, but probably a few more will show up that I didn't realize were going that I actually sort of know online. So it's gonna be really cool.
Very cool. No, it's definitely going to be fun. And I know lots of people who are quite excited that you all are going to be there too. Um, all right, so
Not more than us.
yes. Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Um, so yeah, so I think it's relatively hot off the press. I think maybe even within the last week or two, although I could be wrong on that date too. But you guys recently announced signing to Scarlet Records, which is pretty exciting. And at least in the announcement, it teased an album later this year. It didn't give a name, didn't give a release date officially, but I'd love to know like. I realize that you may not be able to share all the details, but what can you share? Like what's coming down the pipe here in a little bit?
Yeah. Before we signed, we actually considered like doing the release ourselves, but since we're probably one of the laziest bands known to man, we decided like to reach out to a few labels and see what they were willing to do to help us. So in the end, we ended up like seeing that Scarlet was the absolutely best choice for us. They were super forthcoming, and they're truly interested in helping us out going forward. So in the end, we signed for them, and so far they have been amazing to work with. So, and about the new release, yeah, it's gonna be a new release late this year. The album is mixed and mastered, sent to the label for press and stuff. So, however, I can't reveal that much about it yet, but it's epic as beep.
Awesome. No, that's super cool.
Yeah,
Definitely very.
we're immensely happy about it. All of us, like, yeah, we feel that we have everybody, all the bands say like this when there's a new album coming out, but I think we really outdone ourselves this time, which you will see.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there any chance of hearing any of the new material at Mammoth Power?
I can't tell you anything about that at the moment.
All
I'm
right.
so sorry.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I gotta try.
Of course, it's your job, man. But as far as the new album is concerned, it's like for
All
the
right.
moment.
No, that makes total sense. I can say I know I'm very excited about it. I've talked with a bunch of people who are very excited about it. So we'll definitely be looking for more news very soon.
Yep, and you will have them.
All right, just a couple more questions.
Yep.
And I tend to like to deep dive a little bit into a song or two. And so, the way I'm going to frame this one is, and you know, you have a fellow Swede who's also happens to be one of my favorite vocalists, Tommy Johansson.
Hmm.
Um, he does a bunch of kind of his own kind of fun things. He has his own channel. He releases covers all the time.
Yep.
And I think it's been about a year and a half now, but I remember he just blew me away with a cover that he released of the Neverending Story. And
Yeah.
as an '80s kid who grew up with that movie and and nerded out on it, like I've always loved the theme song, and hearing that rendition was just spectacular. But then as I was kind of diving in, getting prepped for this interview, little did I know that, wait a minute, Dragonland also released a cover of the song way back in, I think, 2002, and I believe it originally appeared as a bonus track on the Japanese version, which might mean
Yes.
that it may not have gotten quite the circulation, at least back then. Obviously, now you can find it on streaming, so it's a little bit easier.
Yep.
But um, what motivated the band to record the song? And by the way, it's an awesome cover. I absolutely love it.
Thanks, man. Well, yeah. There's this thing whenever you release an album, the Japanese edition always have to have some bonus content. I'm not really sure why that is the case, but it's been that like that for forever.
Forever. Yes.
Yeah. And for that particular song, we knew that we're going to do a cover. We're not going to write an entire new song for the Japanese market. So we actually choose between the Neverending Story and if you remember Mel C, she had this hit single I Turn to You.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it was between those two, but in the end, we choose Neverending Story because the movie is epic and like everybody grew up with it, and everybody cried when Artax drowned in the swamp and stuff. So it was an easy pick to do, but as you said, it was kind of unfortunate that it only ended up at the Japanese market for the first years before it went up on like YouTube and now on streaming and stuff. But that's the way it was.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of research, and it looks like, at least when you do play shows, it does seem like it shows up a lot in set list. Is it a song that you enjoy performing live?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had like that one as a closing song, I think, for all the shows we've ever done, I think.
So,
So the chances are yes.
so the chances are pretty good that we might get to hear that at Mammoth Power as well.
Maybe.
All right. Well, so no, not a promise, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. That it sounds like at
Yeah.
least a reasonable chance. Um,
Yeah.
well, cool. Well, those are all the questions I really had for you today. But I'd love to give you the chance to say anything else you might want to the audience related to the band and your impending Mad with Power performance.
Yeah. So as I already said, I'm super psyched about coming over and partying with you guys over there at Mad with Power. Um, I probably won't stand still for most of the time. I'm gonna move around and check out all the fun things to do. But if you bump into any of us, please come and say hi. Especially if we know each other, maybe I won't realize, but please do. And it's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna deliver a hell of a set for you guys. And you will notice that we're having fun when we play live.
No, that's great, and I know, like I said, so many people are excited. I'm personally very excited, and I, we all look forward to a very epic set.
Oh yeah,
Well, Jonas, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. I know it's always interesting coordinating, West Coast of the U.S. with Europe, but I'm glad we were able to make this work. So I really do appreciate it, and I know I'm excited to meet you in person in a couple weeks myself. So,
yeah, it's gonna be so much fun, and it's no problem at all for me. Here it's like 5:30 now. For you, it's morning, so it's tougher for you, I guess.
that's why I got the energy drink.
Yeah, coffee.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you so
Cool.
much. And everybody, stay metal.
Stay metal.